So as we always do, we can have a quick recap with our transcendental trivia. With all of your permission and participation. I did post the link in the chat. So if you could join to that link and we can do a quick recap of some highlights that we read from the last chapter. Screen also. Is my screen share visible also?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Yeah, so if hopefully you're able to join using that link, right? Is it asking you or? Okay, so let's see. For anybody who just joined recently, put the link again in the chat. Now I'm just sharing my screen. So okay, so we'll start and then others can follow along on the screen share. So again, this is just a revision of what we studied. There'll be, oops, there is 1 second. There will be, you'll be getting 5 questions and then you'll have 15 seconds to answer each question in your phone. It's just multiple choice, so you just select the right option. Okay, so the first question is coming up on the screen. So it says, 2 things and 2 things only are required to be a sadhu. This was reference in the chapter. So is it humility and compassion, sincerity and genuine connection with the guru, mercifulness, truthfulness, fault-free, and magnanimity. Okay, everybody went with the first darshan. Looks like the first entry out the door. Yeah, so the right answer is sincerity and genuine connection with a bona fide spiritual master or a guru. I think those are the 2 things. The others are really kind of the qualities, right? So, but yeah, this is where the reference was in the book. It says 2 things and 2 things only are required. First of all, sincerity is a must. And secondly, genuine connection with a bona fide guru. And it mentions that sincerity is basically, the staunch devotion to your practice, your sadhana. And then the second requirement is we must regularly hear from, be guided by, and apply the teachings of our qualified and spiritually accomplished Bhakti Yogi, which is our guru. So those are the 2 main criteria. Okay. So since I think nobody got this right, maybe one. Okay. Anyway. So question 2 coming up. Hopefully this will be a little easier. Okay, bhushanam is a Sanskrit word that means what? Is it lifestyle, clothes, is it ornaments, is it preaching? This is part of the word, composite word that we saw. Sadhubhushanam. Very nice, at least we got majority right on this one. Very good. Yes, so this was also in the beginning of the chapter. Yeah, so Bhushanam is a Sanskrit word that means ornaments or jewels. So those are the jewel-like qualities that we are talking about, of a sadhu. So sadhu is one who has sincerity and who is staunchly devoted with a deep connection to Guru. And then these Bhushanams are the qualities or jewel-like virtues of sadhus. Okay, very nice. So Chaitanya Bhav Prabhu is in the lead. JMD. Radhika Mataji Rajiv Shyam Prabhu. Okay. All right, question number 3. This should be very tough, hopefully. Sadhu Bhushanam, jewels of devotion are how many in number? Total numbers that we saw total. Is it 22 qualities, 26, 28, or 30? There you go. Very nice. Okay. Majority got it right. Yes. 26 is the correct answer. Yeah. Okay, before we go there, does anybody want to say? Anybody remembers what those jewels are? Many of you mentioned that last time when we did the picture of Maharaj and you gave the qualities. Anybody wants to call out anything?
Humility.
Yeah.
Kind to everyone.
Yes.
Not waste a single moment.
Yeah, all of those are qualities. Very nice. Yeah, so this was there in the but yeah, kindness, not making anyone their enemy, truthfulness, compassionate, magnanimous.
Yeah, tolerance.
Yes.
Titiksha.
Yeah. Yeah, so all these 26 qualities, and then we saw how Maharaj's peers, other Maharajas, disciples, they've given lots of examples in the book, and Maharaj has basically personified those or lived those qualities in his day-to-day life and interactions with others. Okay, cool. All right, so Chaitanya Bhavdas, who is still in the lead and was the fastest. Okay, last 2 questions. This is our question number 4. This was a statement made by one of the devotees. So Gopal Krishna Maharaj's disciples could have one small fraction of devotion that he has for fulfilling Prabhupada's desires, and their life will be successful. So who made the statement? Was it Loknath Maharaj, Satsvarup Maharaj, Harish Hari Prabhu, or Devi Shakti Devi Mataji? Okay, majority voted for Loknath Maharaj. One did vote for Devi Shakti Mataji. Yeah, and that was the right answer. Yes, she mentions a lot of things. I think this was more like an interview format, but yeah, she mentions that if we have just one fraction of the devotion that Maharaj has for Prabhupada's desires, then if we follow in those footsteps, then our life will be successful. If we can just help Gopal Krishna Maharaj to carry out all the numerous instructions that he received from Prabhupada, then certainly when he goes back to Godhead to be with Prabhupada, then we all will be with him. Right. Madhu Krishna Prabhu was that lucky chosen one, looks like. Okay. All right, the last question. Gopal Krishna Maharaj's great-great-grandfather, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, rested for how many hours and devoted himself to regular spiritual practice for how many hours a day? So did he rest for 2 hours and devoted 14 hours for spiritual practice? Did he rest for 3 hours and devoted 12 hours? How many hours did he rest and how many hours did he devote to spiritual practices? Wonderful, at least Again, majority got this right. So, very nice. Yes. Right answer was, as we saw, his rigorous schedule, and then we also saw how that comparison was made between, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Gopal Krishna Maharaj. And it was not coincidence. I think, like we said, Maharaj played the role of Bhaktivinoda Thakur in the play in the Boston Temple, and he really lives to the day, in the same mood and the same kind of personifying all these traits and living his schedule with so much of austerity. Yeah, so Bhaktivinoda Thakur spent only about 3 hours, 2 hours here in the night, and then maybe half an hour here and half an hour during the afternoon, but just 3 hours in the day he really rested, and then almost 12 hours he spent devoted to spiritual practices, writing, translating. Okay, Haribol. So let's see, what are the final results? Everybody is a winner here because we all learn from each other's participation, association, and reflections. So thank you all for enthusiastically participating every week. And this is Jay Madhav Prabhu, but yeah, he's the one today. Everybody wins here in the Sangha. So thank you so much for participation. And with that, we will get back to our reading, continuing our reading. And I think today we are starting a new chapter. Is that right, Jagannath Prabhu? I think we finished the
page 246.
So yeah, whoever would like to start reading, we could just use the raise hand feature in Zoom, and then we'll just go in that order. And I'll share my screen also here. Okay. Is everybody able to see my screen?
Yes, Prabhuji.
I see, Madhu Krishna Prabhu, you can start, please.
Hare Krishna. As we've seen, part 1 of this work provided the reader with a comprehensive overview of all that had to happen so that the monumental Glory of India project in Delhi could come into being. And as mentioned before, part 2 aims to provide additional views of this one-of-a-kind project via fascinating first-hand accounts, close-ups, if you will, as witnessed by those who were there. Such accounts, of course, have no place in an overview because, with the exception of a few rare narratives essential for the reader's understanding, detailed anecdotes of what took place are categorically excluded for the sake of the bird's eye view. So, carefully trying not to repeat what has already been covered, let us proceed. Inspired by his beloved Guru Maharaja, Srila Prabhupada, and carrying on the good work of several devotees, Gopala Krishna Maharaja has spearheaded the creation of India's most magnificent cultural center, the Glory of India complex. It features a host of wondrous resources, a gorgeous temple for the worship of Radha and Krishna, a museum with a cutting-edge animatronic exhibit that highlights a number of the most striking moments in India's spiritual history, a 380-seat theater landscaped gardens with fountains, trees, courtyards, and sweeping outdoor staircases, world-class restaurants, gift shops, and numerous other facilities, all of unparalleled excellence. Clearly, on every level, the Glory of India complex is an undisputed success. What is little known are the unbelievably heroic sacrifices that were required of many of the earliest devotees, disciples of Srila Prabhupada, and grand disciples as well, whose mighty spiritual exploits in the service of Guru and Krishna are phenomenal. Well, let us take a few steps back in time and revisit the history so we can better appreciate their accomplishments. Hare Krishna.
Oh, can you make your screen bigger? I mean, a lot of have books, but people who don't have books, they can read off your screen, please.
Yeah, sure.
Zoom in. Thank you.
Is
Yep,
this okay,
right.
Prabhu? Okay.
Yeah, much better.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Mother Krishna. Jay, go ahead, Prabhu. Oh, you are on mute, Prabhuji. Okay.
Thank you. I thought I was third. Okay. Yamuna Devi, pioneer Vaishnavi. To begin with, one extraordinary Vaishnavi pioneer who contributed greatly to the Delhi project was Her Grace Yamuna Devi. In speaking about his disciple Yamuna, Srila Prabhupada always let it be known that she was in all ways a first-class devotee. And over time, as the great number of Yamuna's enduring contributions to the movement have come to be well known, those abundant devotional accomplishments, it's a little hard to follow, have made visible to everyone her exceptional qualities, which Srila Prabhupada, as a pure devotee, could easily see right from the outlet. For instance, it was she who went to Jaipur and, along with her god sister, Her Grace, Madri Devi Dasi, was responsible for carrying out Prabhupada's instructions of attaining the deities. That service including ordering the deities, directing the Murtiwalas as the deities were being crafted, and ultimately arranging for Sri Sri Radhaparta to arrive in Delhi timely, well before their installation. And it was she who took charge, supervised all the details of the preparatory work in Delhi for their glorious installation by Srila Prabhupada, thereby laying much of the groundwork for all that has to follow. Early on in her devotional life, Yamuna, along with her husband, Guru Das, and two other extraordinary devotee couples, Shyamasunda Prabhu and his wife, Malati Devi, and Mukunda Prabhu and his wife, Janaki, had famously launched the London, England Yatra. It was they who were largely responsible for making Hare Krishna, looks like we lost it, a household word throughout the continental Europe and the rest of the Western world. In that case, as we shall soon see, as in the case of India as well, she and other devotees voluntarily accepted extreme austerities and underwent extraordinary difficulties to please Guru and Krishna. Her Grace Malati Devi, reminiscing about the time, recalls the austerities they experienced in England. Recalls. Thank you.
Prabhuji. Mataji, Uttama Radhika Mataji.
Hare Krishna. We had hardly any possessions, no money, no protection. It often got very cold. All we had was love for Srila Prabhupada. But it was no way easier for them in India. In England, they had to contend with winter's piercing cold, whereas in India, they faced extreme heat. Both were serious tests of faith. And again, as they had been in England, their material circumstances were dire. They literally had no money, no amenities, very few possessions. And with the exception of great and enduring love for Prabhupada, they were quite literally destitute. Yet each of the 6 devotees served Srila Prabhupada with heroic determination, and collectively they accomplished legendary feats of lasting value for the benefit of the whole world. To better understand what it was like, let's look at one particular instance of the extraordinary sacrifices such early devotees' disciples made. Yamuna and her husband, Guru Dasa, in around 1970, while en route to Bombay with Srila Prabhupada and a small party of other disciples, were suddenly dispatched by Prabhupada to Delhi. Prabhupada had received a 3-line telegraph message from an Indian gentleman in Delhi who learned of Prabhupada's intention to build a temple in Delhi. That gentleman telegraphed to offer his help, stating that he would help get it started if Prabhupada would send him a few devotees to work with. So upon receipt of the telegram, Prabhupada instructed Guru Dasa to take 3 men from the traveling party with him and along with Yamuna get off the train in Delhi and take the gentleman up on his offer. Guru Dasa picked Bhanu Dasa, who is now His Holiness Bhanu Swami Giriraj Brahmachari, who is now His Holiness Giriraj Swami and Gopala Brahmachari. Hare Krishna.
Ajit Shyam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. We will hear in a moment of the wonderful things the small group was able to accomplish. But right from the first day, Yamuna noted that the kind-hearted, well-meaning gent who was eager to help was also, in her words, 3 kachoris short of full thali. In other words, she explained, he was little off, an enthusiastic man, but little bit off. Upon arriving in Delhi, the man showed them the quarters that were to become their residence for the coming weeks of intense service. Then she showed us a place right at the Delhi gate. There was a roof, and on the roof there were 2 room-like cages. There was enough room in one of them for 1 charpai, a light bedstead, and the boys gave that to me. I was in one room. There was 1 door, no windows, and that was it. There were sleeping bags and 1 bed. I got terrible head lice from that bed. Prabhupada told me that I must shave my head. I also washed my hair with gasoline. Oh my God. I did everything to get rid of those lice. Then there were rats which were size of possums, about the size of a house cat. They would run constantly across the sleeping bag. Oh my God. So even though it was hot, the boys had to sleep underneath in those sleeping bags to keep away from those rats running across their bodies at night. It was austere. It is important to keep in mind that Srila Prabhupada never asked his disciple to face hardship or perform austerity, which he himself was willing to do or unwilling to do. Far from it. Biographies of His Grace, His Divine Grace, show that on many occasions Prabhupada also lived under the most austere condition and had to endure life-threatening or exceedingly miserable conditions. When such exigencies appeared, and they had frequently, he always adjusted to the austerities without complaint. The perfect exemplar, Yamuna continues.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Srinivas Pundrika Prabhu.
Hare Krishna devotees, 100 pranams. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. I would say that the beginning of the Delhi temple was an eye-opening experience. There were no toilets. We were told, just go in the corner, take a cup of water and go. And there was no flushing. Every couple of days, someone came to sweep it up. Being the only woman living in such conditions was a big challenge. But all the boys were so sweet to me. We were so close. I must say that we were truly like brothers and sisters. We had that because Prabhupada was our father and we were his children. And we were only doing this out of an intense love for him. Within 3 days, we all had dysentery and we did not have a single paisa to our names. Prabhupada did not give us 5 rupees even when we got off the train. He said, you go on the street corner and do Sankirtana. So we did. Later, we wrote to Prabhupada, and at that time, he gave us different instructions. No, don't do this. It would be like begging. Don't do this. At that time, he said we should make life members. And despite the severe austerities they lived under, make life members they did. The life membership program Prabhupada had explained was a respectable way to get books to potential people who could not to meet. Yamano continues. For Kolkata, Mumbai, and Delhi, he had a quota and gave us a couple of names. The Dalmias were one of the first. Their whole family was very nice to us. They started giving us names to approach. Prabhupada's vision was that we would get respect by selling our books. I noticed in England, many devotees who were devotees 30 years ago are not practicing now, but they still read the books on occasion, and those books are their lifeline. You know, they are just like lifelines. The minute you pick up one, and no matter how you use them, you may study in a course, you may study alongside listening to classes, you may read on your own, or you may just read out loud. In any one of those 4 ways, no matter how you touch the Bhagavatam, it reveals itself to you, according to your sincerity. So Prabhupada had this idea. Life membership would gradually get these set of books as they were in those days, not even rupees. 100 paisa was equivalent to 1 rupee. So approximately 750 paisa was equal to $1 in 1970. There was never a time we had a car. So in all things and in all ways, everywhere in those days, we had humble beginnings. But as with everything, Srila Prabhupada's vision was so broad. He saw the future far, far beyond anything that we had a capacity to see. And by virtue of his great passions and profound dedication to his own Guru Maharaj, he was able to encourage us in befitting ways to get remarkable things out of both his men and women disciples. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Mamta Mataji.
Hare Krishna. In those days, Prabhupada engaged us in the immeasurable, remarkable ways. I think people were always fascinated with the fact that in this youthful period of our lives, he gave our lives to Krishna and Srila Prabhupada's service. He tapped into that and put us forward in the way that previously women had never seen. So we all engaged ourselves fully in preaching activities. Then Srila Prabhupada called us from the Delhi temple. Austerity is the wealth of the Brahmins. When austerities are thrust upon a person, it's one thing. Difficulty, no doubt, and certainly very challenging. But sometimes we see that an advanced devotee will voluntarily assume an austerities. At such times, the puzzling phrase may come to mind. It just moved, yes. Mind. The aphorism that assert that austerity is the wealth of the Brahmins. At that time, one may be challenged to reconsider one's viewpoint concerning material hardship and setbacks. Perhaps some situation which seems an impediment or setback is not an impediment or setback at all. What if that seeming impediment or reversal actually brings about the exact opposite effect of, for example, opening up the ways? Could it really be the devotionally inspired austerities enables a devotee to access a hidden treasury or spiritual currency that has infinite power, sufficiently to move mountains? Certainly, that is the conclusion of Vaishna's scriptures. And we see that throughout his devotional life, the time and time again, Gopal Krishna Maharaj voluntarily accept austerities in that very mood. One who is enlightened recognizes that human form of life is meant to perform austerities for the pleasure of the supreme personality of Godhead. We can stay high forever if we are fixed in devotional service, if we are ready to perform austerities, and these austerities will enable us to capture Krishna, who is Adhokshija, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj. This, am I done? I'm okay.
Yeah, we can read something.
This has been true in the creation of the glory of India. The grace Krishna, His grace Krishna Priya Prabhu recalls a time when everyone working towards the completion of the daily glories of India project was disappointed by the frustrating strings of delay. Their intentions had been to present the complete glory of India complex to Srila Prabhupada on his appearance day in 1996, the huge international centennial celebration of his birth. Despite all the determination and the hard work of the devotee put forth, however, and although the funds were there and the material needed were all there, still everything was delayed. The government was refusing permission for the work to go ahead because neighbors were complaining. It so happened that the demolition of the hills, which was needed to complete the project, was stalled. And this was because the dynamite used to remove this hill was sometimes showering debris on the people's property. And their companies led to a work stoppage. Krishna Priya Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Mataji. Srimati Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Dynamite was used to break the hill for construction, and sometimes the pieces of rocks fell on the neighboring houses. People started complaining, which created problems. At that time, Guru Maharaj took a vow that until the construction was completed, he would eat only pumpkin. Guru Maharaj only ate pumpkin every day. For many, many months, Guru Maharaj ate only pumpkin. Can you believe it? And Guru Maharaj did that tapasya till the time that the temple got completed. There are many other instances of Gopal Krishna Maharaj's voluntary acceptance of austerities, which most people would run from, finding them too difficult to perform. An example is disclosed below in reminiscences offered by His Holiness Bhakti Rakshaka Radha Golokananda Maharaj. The particular austerity he cites may seem small, but actually, according to Rupa Goswami writing in his Upadeshamrita, the austerity Gopal Krishna Maharaj performs, as told to his disciple Bhakti Rakshaka Radha Golokananda Maharaj, is actually a major triumph. Anyone who is able to perform this simple seeming austerity, which is actually very difficult, is showing that he or she has achieved great self-mastery. Bhakti Rakshaka Radha Golokananda Maharaj. His diet is boiled food. So one day I asked him, Guru Maharaj, you take this food, but it does not have any taste. he answered my unspoken question, saying simply that he changed his diet after he took sannyas. So it is a vow that he has taken. Wow.
It is really a wow. Wow.
Srila Prabhupada, in his commentary on a pertinent text in Srila Rupa Goswami's book, Sri Upadeshamrita, The Nectar of Instruction, writes, as for the urges of the tongue, we are all experienced that the tongue wants to eat palatable dishes. Generally, we should not allow the tongue to eat according to its choice. Bodily demands begin with the tongue. One can restrain the demands of the tongue by limiting its activities. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us to avoid very palatable dishes even while eating prasada. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Ravindranath Prabhu, Shanopini Mataji.
Prabhu. Clearly, Gopalakrishna Maharaj has taken Srila Prabhupada's purport to heart, applying it strictly in his day-to-day life, and such devotional practices of austerity play a central role in Maharaj's life. Purity and Guru Puja. His Holiness Bhakti Rakshaka Radha Golokananda Maharaj. Guru Maharaj is very strict in deity worship. If he is doing puja, he will not pick up the phone. You cannot enter. He explained to me that to the extent that one is fully invested in personally caring for the deities, to the extent that one serves them purely, to that extent, the deities will reciprocate. Most of the time, he is here at headquarters, and whenever he is here, he performs deity worship. If unavoidably he misses Mangala Arati, then he will do the 8:30 Arati. In other words, he will definitely do some Arati during the day. And he told me why. Srila Prabhupada, he told me, once noticed that one devotee was not present for Guru Puja, and so he inquired of the devotee. The devotee explained to Prabhupada that he was worshipping his Shaligram Shila at that time of Guru Puja. Guru Maharaj was present when Prabhupada told him, no, you must come to Guru Puja. That is required. You can adjust the time you set aside for your deity seva, but you must come to Guru Puja. Then Guru Maharaj said to me, Prabhupada wanted it like this. And Guru Maharaj told me that from that day onwards, he has made it a part of his life to definitely come to Guru Puja. And if he is not able to come, let's say he is traveling, then he will sing Guru Puja in the car. Of course, Guru Maharaj travels so much. This we know. But every day at the time of Guru Puja, one way or another, Guru Maharaj will definitely be there, being fully engaged in Krishna's service. Srila Prabhupada taught that the secret to complete success in life is to fully engage oneself in pure devotional service to Krishna. His impeccable example inspired countless others to emulate the devotional lifestyle he championed. By all criteria, the degree of success Srila Prabhupada achieved in life is extremely rare. There was always something so special, something superlative and utterly attractive about Prabhupada, and anyone who met him, even for a moment, registered the encounter as a transformative experience. What to speak of the effect his radiant success had on outsiders? It was even more transformative for insiders. People close enough to observe him firsthand were astounded. Literally, every second of his life was devoted to God's pure loving service. In one Bhaktivedanta purport, he said, the human body is rarely achieved, and although temporary like other bodies, it is meaningful because in human life, one can perform devotional service. Even a slight amount of sincere devotional service can give one complete perfection. Because Srila Prabhupada's immersion in Krishna service was far beyond slight, because it was total and complete. His life epitomized stunning success in fulfilling his mission of divine service. Should I stop, Prabhu?
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Radhika Kishori Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu Dana, Jai Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. Gopal Krishna Maharaj has fully imbibed this mood. Not many people can serve on the level he does. It is a very rare ability, and as was the case with Prabhupada. Maharaj's example inspires many around him to go far beyond this limits of what they think is possible. and they are able to reach goals they might otherwise never even have ventured to try for. This phenomenon is demonstrated by the successful fundraising efforts mounted by Gopal Krishna Maharaj and his associates that attracted to the project the astronomical amounts of money needed to bring Delhi's glory of India to the people of the world. By ordinary calculation, the project was overly ambitious because of the impossible amount of money it required. But Prabhupada had taught that impossible is a word in a fool's dictionary. Not Maharaj took that message to heart and has applied it at every step of his devotional career. Because of this determination which Maharaj got from Prabhupada, and because he is able to inspire those around him in the same way. In his association, the impossible becomes possible. To better understand this marvel of devotional service, let's hear about the fundraising for the GOI from 4 of the key devotees whose dedication was indispensable to the project's success. When Trikalagna first came to Delhi to immerse himself fully in the glory of India project, it needed a great deal of work. He saw that many skilled and dedicated team players were needed, but at the time there were very few devotees. Consequently, the first months and years were very difficult, but that changed when Gopal Krishna Maharaj got involved. Trikalagna Prabhu. I came in 1989. A little later, we moved here onto the site around 1992. I had to struggle for the first year because there were no devotees here. The temple was very small and there was a lot of work to be done. Trikalagna remembers that Maharaj got the ball rolling by arranging meetings in which he had Trikalagna would meet with the other leading devotees, and at once the standstill pace at which things had been going suddenly shifted into high gear. Of course, Trikalagna remembered Maharaj's intensity well from their first meeting in the mid-1980s. At the time, he had been amazed by Gopal Krishna Maharaj's drive, noting that Maharaj at all wasn't concerned with eating or resting after his long flight. But he saw that his whole attention and energy were focused exclusively on achieving the mission that Srila Prabhupada had instructed him to accomplish in Delhi.
Narad Muni Prabhu.
Hare Krishna to everybody. Like Malaben says, Mr. Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, and Lord, and all of you. Where we are?
Here,
Trikalagna was acting as a Delhi temple president to develop the glory of India complex. Gopal Krishna Maharaj brought in 2 key personalities, Sadbhuj Prabhu and Mukund Maharaj. Both these devotees gave invaluable input during the conferences Maharaj then organized, and a comprehensive vision of the project began to emerge. Along with the evolving vision, the necessary team of players began to be assembled. Plans for the museum were drafted. Ideas for the dioramas and animatronic galleries and for the artwork, all these elements were discussed and plans were set in motion. More key devotees were brought in. Gyan Gamya, Guru Narayan, Rochan Prabhu, and Dinanath Prabhu. And they too dedicated themselves to the project. Finally, fully fledged development was truly underway. Trikalagna Prabhu. In many ways, this temple is very blessed. Obviously, by Prabhupada selecting this spot and selecting Gopal Krishna Maharaj to lead, the whole project. Maharaj's meditation was one-pointed. This project must take off. Later on, I discovered that he had personally come to this site with Srila Prabhupada. Although Prabhupada had shown another 4 or 5 sites to a group of devotees, when Prabhupada came to this site, he had said, this is where the temple should be. So blessings had been there from the very beginning. So blessings have been here from the very beginning. We built a temporary temple here for Lord Jagannath and Radha Parsarathy. It was solid building. When you see as a restaurant, what you see as a restaurant, Govinda was a temple building. And then we put 20 tin sheds for the devotees to move in and live. And our efforts were also tin sheds.
Offices.
And our offices were also in tin sets. We kept it very simple. We moved here in April 1992 on Ram Navami because I wanted to be on site all the time. We moved the deities, we moved the devotees. Things kept expanding and changing. Through all the moves, all the changes, everything, we continued preaching. Still, with each stage of the project's evolution, increasing amounts of money was needed. Initially, it seemed that 6 crores of rupees would suffice, but then that figure doubled. Then it tripled and kept on increasing until eventually, by the completion of the project's first phase, the total expenditure had already exceeded a whopping 28 crores rupees. It was an exciting and very challenging. It was an exciting and very challenging time, Trikalagya recalls.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji.
I think,
Yeah, we'll go to Gaur Gadadhar Prabhu next.
Thank you, Prabhu. Just the museum itself cost us several crore rupees. When we were advertising and promoting this museum, we were focused on finding the right person who could help manifest the animatronics and the robots. But everyone, Americans, Russians, whomever, all the professional people were asking tons of money. Then a devotee named Dinanath Prabhu at Bhaktivedant Manor saw our advertisement and contacted us. He said, I just need my maintenance and a little extra money so that I can survive. I think it was $1,000 in those days he had asked for. So we invited him and he flew from London to Delhi. We had a conference. Gyangamya Prabhu, Gopal Krishna Maharaj, Ved Vyas Prabhu and me. We came to a conclusion that we should give him a chance. We were impressed by him. He was very confident that he could do what we wanted, which he did. And he saved us a lot of money also. If the work had been given to a professional company, we would have spent at least 500 crore, if not 1 crore more. He and Rochan Prabhu brought everything together. They first went to Bombay and practiced there because there was a small room there they could use. At that time, this place was under construction and we didn't have any other place. Can you scroll? Yeah. Simultaneously, we had 17 Russian artists who we shifted to accommodations in Vrindavan. There we rented a property for them to work in. And that group of artists from Russia spent day and night practically creating the magnificent artwork which you see in the temple today. Naturally, we visited Vrindavan on a regular basis to observe. And Maharaj made sure that we had many senior devotees giving input. At the same time, because Delhi is a world hub of devotion, and almost every devotee that goes to Vrindavan comes through Indira Gandhi Airport, I promoted a campaign on the internet for developing resources, financial and otherwise. Here's what we offered the devotee community around the world. Anyone on their way to visit Vrindavan we will give you a free ride from the Delhi airport to the Delhi temple. We will host you in Delhi and then arrange your free ride to Vrindavan. My idea was to capture all those senior devotees so the project would benefit by their input also. In this way, Tamal Krishna Goswami came, Romapad Swami came, Shivram Swami came, Jayapataka Swami came. Literally, every senior leader was coming to Vrindavan. We had a catchment for them with love and devotion. Can you scroll? Of course. And they had much to offer in return, as we had hoped.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Leela Krishna Prabhu. Yes.
Okay. Hare Krishna. As it turned out, the learning curve was steep. Every effort was made to ensure that there would be no waste of material or other costly errors. Everyone wanted to avoid learning the hard way. That meant getting expert advice from experienced people. It meant less time spent in comparison, shopping to locate and hire professionals with the best reputations for integrity and efficiency. It meant learning about and complying with the laws regulating building projects. And it meant cultivating the good relations with the government agencies and personnel involved. But who would guess that it also meant developing good relations with the local mafia types, the underworld characters who are an ever-present part of the human drama, Trikal Gangina. I had a police officer coming here from Lajpat Nagar. He was looking for some bribe. He said, give me 1,500 every month and I will make sure that you don't have any problem. Soon after he left, another man came, and this time from the DDA. And normally these guys work hand in hand. The DDA guy came and said, give me 3,000 per month and you can do whatever you like and I will not stopping anything. I was at a loss. The next morning, when two members of the team who had decade of practical experience come to the office, I explained what had happened and asked, what is this fees about? They both looked at each other and laughed because they knew I was dumb in this field. So one explained to me that this is how India works. He smiled. Don't worry, he said, I will take care of it. By the afternoon, that same police officer came to the temple with a big box of laddus. He said, please offer these to the deities. And you know what I had talked to you about yesterday? Don't worry about that, no fees. And he left. There were so many challenges of that sort. I will give you another simple example. The reinforcements bars that were used had to be silver coated, otherwise they would rust. The bars has to be 33 feet long. We used to get 33 feet long bar and then overnight they would become 28 feet long. This was brought to my attention that the bar were not the right size. When we called the company, they said that they had sent the correct bars. So I hired overnight security. Well, I got a call around midnight, mystery solved. Thief had came and they were very well organized and professional people. With efficiency and speed, they were cutting out the 4 to 5 feet or 5 feet from the bar and taking their collections away. They were still on the construction site when I got the call. It was midnight. What to do? We got the police and they came while the operations was still in progress. That settled that. So this is just one example of the kind of the challenges we had. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Okay. We are at 10:40, so maybe we can pause here and take some reflections, comments. We can continue from the next. We can continue future next week from future. But yeah, anybody who would like to share anything, any comments, any reflections, you can raise your hand and go ahead and unmute.
I would share something, Prabhuji. I was reading in the last, it was very interesting to know that these kind of challenges, right, when in the construction site and the people are bribing, right, and there is nothing we can do. Anytime the construction happen, everyone say, okay, you don't have to worry if you are going to bribe. So this is very common. I think I didn't know that in the 1980s, and that was that kind of theft. But it's very difficult, and I was hearing other challenges also in the construction in the previous chapters. So definitely is not very simple task. And one thing I noticed about the cost, right? Each time we can have a project, the initial estimate was 6 crores, right? And the end it was completed in 28 crores. Yeah, it's imagining the way the cost is going up and up. From 6, it's not 12, it's not 18, it's a 28. So it's a very difficult with that and all the other surrounding. So it's a very difficult situation for anyone, and I'm sure that Maharaj handled very well. Thanks, Prabhuji. That's what my thought is. I'm thinking that it's not easy. 28 crores, yeah, someone is saying. Okay. I think, let me read some chat was there.
All of us who have lived, we have all lived in India. We
First
know.
phase, yeah. Yeah, that's absolutely right. I think that was 28 only for the first phase. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah. See Narad Muni, Prabhu.
Yeah, just one question. In the beginning, we read that there's a deity of Radha Parsathi and Lord Jagannath. But I don't see Lord Jagannath in the Delhi temple now. What happened to Lord Jagannath deities?
Anybody who has visited?
Yes, those deities which were not used by the temple there, they were kept in the temple for some time, and afterwards they were transferred to Ghaziabad temple. Yeah, when Ghaziabad temple was, it was not made a temple at that time. It was just a Kochi there, and they were installed there. And from there, they started, the temple with the Jagannath deities, And when the temple started construction after a few years, and then those deities are still now, whenever there is a Rath Yatra in the northern India at that time, those deities used to go for the Rath Yatra all over Delhi, Ludhiana, Punjab, and all these areas, and they are still there.
So they are in Ghaziabad temple now?
Yes. They were transferred to Ghaziabad temple. Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much for clarification.
Thanks.
Even in Ghaziabad, I thought in the messages I saw there was a second temple that was opening up in Ghaziabad.
There is a one Wave City. Yeah, there's a Wave City temple which is about 2 kilometers from the main Ghaziabad temple. Yeah, it's a very, very big complex. Yeah, and there was some big ceremony a few days back. Yeah, and Guru Maharaj was also there, and I think the first phase of construction is over, and they are still short of about funds for the completion. And I heard from somebody that so far they have put in 1,500 crores on that temple. So I've not been there. So when I go to Delhi this year, maybe I go to the Wave City. Yeah, Jagannath, yeah, just and it's very, very big. There's about a lot of guest rooms in there. It's a very, I think it's this whole project is in about many acres of lands.
Thank you, Mataji, giving us those insights. Yeah, Gaur Gadadhar Prabhu.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So actually that initially when we were reading today, we read that when the temple construction was going on and the neighbors were complaining, because of the debris falling on the property. So Maharaj, he took this vow that he will eat only pumpkin, until the construction is over. And that went on for several months, So we can see, Maharaj is very resolute in determination, whatever things he learned in association with Prabhupada, how Prabhupada, was monitoring and administering the construction of the temples, the way he was guiding. So Guru Maharaj has imbibed all that in his behavior, and that was one of the very initial attractions, with Maharaj, we used to have, Maharaj always used to, whenever he used to come to Chandigarh and other places wherever he used to meet, he always used to inquire about, our well-being. So Maharaj is he himself takes up all the austerity and tries to give solace and comfort to others, actually. So and likewise, I just have a small memory of our Chandigarh temple, actually, where one of the Grahastha devotee was complaining that so and so brahmachari in the temple, he stole away the prasadam kasora after the festival. Prabhupada's, and there was some I guess Prabhupada's appearance day or something the next day after Janmashtami. So one of the brahmachari, he stole away the kasora, and he consumed that prasadam by himself. So Maharaj was and one Grahastha devotee was complaining about that. And Maharaj, the way, he never, he's austere himself, but he tried to defend, the brahmachari by convincing the Grahastha that Grahastha devotee can anytime have, he's at home, he can make any preparation for the Lord and he can have any time. But the brahmachari, definitely, they don't get that opportunity. So the festival times, they can, they are, if they do something like that, definitely, Maharaj try to pacify that Grahastha devotee who was very angry and passionate about and complaining about. So I've seen many occasions, Maharaj, the way he takes all the austerities on himself and try to give comfort and always he's comforting to his subordinates who are with him, and by little experiences that we have seen with Maharajas, so it's always been blissful to have whatever little association we had with him, and so it's that's those memories kind of help us continue us with the Krishna consciousness. So Maharaj has just with one sentence, he gives he gets to learn things, what is the situation, and he, without speaking much, he will he will try to guide us how we should be behaving in those difficult situations. So he understands without even telling what the situation is. So Maharaj, that austere behavior of Maharaj is, he is very, very, it's very encouraging and guiding to the disciples. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing, Prabhu. Yeah, all the austerities, and like you said, I think earlier, I think he really has imbibed, when I was also reading, it really feels like how he imbibes the mood of, how he has imbibed the mood of Srila Prabhupada, really, right, in each and everything that he is doing. Even today when we were reading, like you mentioned, even Prabhupada said about TT worship, about Guru Puja, attending Puja, right? And he remembers each and everything that Prabhupada gave instruction to him, directly, indirectly, and like to date, he follows that. And I think, and when Devi Shakti Mataji was saying the same thing, right? Even if that one small fraction of that mood that we can imbibe, what Maharaj has for Srila Prabhupada's words and instructions, then I think our life will be successful. So that is really the mode, like you said. Yeah, his austerities are just like, because when we see the austerities that Srila Prabhupada went through, on Jalduta, going to the ship and landing in America with nothing, and then starting the center, leading the Kirtan in the park, and all those austerities. And then Maharaj is also doing this similar austerities. So as we read, I think the austerities are the wealth of sadhus. So, thank you, Prabhu. Venu Madhuri Mataji, do you have something to share? Your hand has been up.
Oh, no, it's been long. I didn't know.
Okay.
Yeah. So regarding the austerities, it is really, really, I mean, we cannot think of even, with the Maharaj, what sort of things he goes through, and without letting other knows about it here. And I remember once that a few years ago, we went to have Maharaj Darshan in Delhi temple there. And it was about lunchtime, and there were a couple of more sannyasis with Maharaj. Yeah. And Maharaj said, the devotee in the kitchen, yeah, please bring prasadam plate. Yeah. I was surprised. I mean, it was their lunchtime, and how come they are saying me? And Maharaj says, no, you have to have your lunch here. I was feeling so awkward in myself, I'm in the table, they are ready for the lunch, and they say, no, you sit on this table only, I'm saying, and have your lunch here first. I don't know what to do. I mean, I couldn't say no, I couldn't say, say, and that lady brought, the devotee brought the lunch there, and Mercy, start eating, have it. So I was really so much, I mean, how the devotee, other sannyasis are waiting there, 2-3 other more sannyasis were there with Maharaj, and I'm sitting alone on the table first, in their presence, I'm having the lunch. So I don't know what to do, what to call it, basically, Then are you happy now? You satisfied? Yes. I said, I just went, and so surprised. I do not know. I mean, I didn't went for lunch. I just went for darshan only, there, And then he said, have darshan of my deities there. Then I'll see you later in the afternoon sometime, Okay. So, I mean, this is how it is, I mean, how much care he takes. And some few years ago, again, when I went, both of us were, my husband was also there. And then Maharaj, this secretary said, Guru Maharaj said, you will have prasad here. And they made one room available there. They say, you stay in that room, and they'll bring the prasad. And but I had come for darshan, So it was about 2:30, around 2:30, yes, yeah. They brought the packed prasad, in the tiffin box, hot cakes, yeah. And on the table, so many things there for two of us. It's like a feast, So it was, I mean, this is what Maharaj knows it, I mean, these are the instances which I can't explain them. Why it is so, It happened twice. One, I was single, I was alone there. Second time, we both of us were there, and I had a big prasad, and the devotee came here with a big box, with the thermos, flask, lunch, big, and other things there, and the table had it. So you have your time here, yeah, and then Maharaj will see you in the evening again. I said, okay. So this is something I fail to understand why it was so like that. I mean, you go for something and Maharaj say, no, first have a prasad, then I'll see you later.
That actually reminds me, when I went to the Delhi temple this was during COVID, and that was my first visit meeting Maharaj in person. And yeah, after I got darshan, of course, he was in front of his altar. And then after that, yeah, he asked me the same thing. Did he have prasad? And then he asked, he asked the secretary to first.
Yeah.
And he told me the same thing. I'll meet you again after.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it is, no? No, I was so surprised. I mean, there was so much to eat, I mean, it's not just a prasad. How can you two of us finish? It was for 4 people, 5 people, So he still got to finish home. Oh God. So it was, so this is what it is. I mean, so caring about others, I mean, he was very, very caring, and I don't know how to describe it, It's really no words for it.
Thank you, Mataji.
Yes.
Any other devotees have anything? Can I see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I just wanted to also point out
that we read today, and it was something that I did not know, but it is definitely worth mentioning that, you know, the austerities that the initial disciples of Srila Prabhupada also made for the Delhi temple, and we got to know about it today. So devotees like Yamuna Mataji, Giriraj Maharaj, Bhanu Maharaj, Guru Das Prabhu, so many others, they were sent by Srila Prabhupada to Delhi to try to, you know, get funds, try to find a land. And also we found out that, you know, Srila Prabhupada saw a few different areas for the temple, and then this one was, he said, okay, this is where we should have the temple. So it was also Srila Prabhupada's desire to have it there. But the austerities that these senior devotees of Srila Prabhupada's disciples, they went through, it was unimaginable. Like Yamuna Mataji was mentioning, you know, that it was so hot, and they had a small, it was not even a room, and Mataji was given a small bed, and the brahmacharis were sleeping on the floor. Mataji got terrible head lice from the bed, which was not going at all. And then the Prabhus, they, you know, there were rats the size of cats, you know, just running all over while they were sleeping, and they had to, even though it was so hot, they had to be inside the sleeping bags just to protect themselves from the rats. And there were no toilets also. So much austerities, you know, the Delhi project, for the Delhi project, devotees have made right from the beginning of our movement. You know, the senior most disciples in the movement, they have come and they have worked there. And then, you know, Guru Maharaj, he saw it to completion. So it's also very important that we recognize and remember their contributions also.
So nice, yes, true. Yeah, I think in the book also it's mentioned, right? Yeah, Maharaj and all his you know, peers, you know, yeah, everybody has really been like, you know, yeah, they've imbibed that mode from Srila Prabhupada. So yeah, as you rightly said, there have been so many countless devotees who have given their heart and soul to these projects, and yeah, all of their contributions are by no means insignificant. Yeah, I mean, they're, especially considering, you know, like I always think, you know, we have been born and brought up in those kind of situations. We know how India is, what kind of conditions, you know, we have lived in. But for devotees who have gone from here in those days and those times, yeah, 70s, 80s, when there was, you know, lack of electricity, lack of water, and yeah, all these austerities. I mean, this is kind of unimaginable, right? Like, you know, if somebody tells you to live in those kind of situations, it was just their pure love, like they said, Mataji said, you know, they treated Prabhupada as their father, and it was out of, you know, their love and you know, bonding that they had with Srila Prabhupada that they were able to really overcome all those, which may seem like austerities or may seem like inconvenience for us, but for them it was really nothing. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so with this, I'm aware at time as well at 11 o'clock. Thank you so much once again for all of your wonderful association. Advaita Acharya Prabhu, are you still on the call? Did you have anything to share? I know Jagannath Prabhu had to leave about Guru Maharaj's health or any other updates.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I think Guru Maharaj is doing good. I can see that he's now in Kurukshetra. And he's traveling, looks like back to almost all normal activities. So I think no, he's doing great. He's doing very good. He's planning to have some medical tests done in next couple of weeks, maybe. But no, he overall is doing good, and he's fully active. I think we can see from last 3-4 days activities, and now he's also planning to go to Bombay also. So, by the grace of Prabhupada and Krishna's blessing, he's doing good, and we should continue our prayers. And I was thinking about this austerities of Srila Prabhupada, his disciples, and Guru Maharaj's contributions to Glory of India project. And at least by reading this kind of books and informations, we can really appreciate. Right now, it's like a grandfather or father create an empire, and we children just enjoy, and we don't understand that how much sacrifice that they have performed, and we don't appreciate those things. Then I think we don't get really too much devotional service because of that. So yes, this is their hard work, hard labor, and fruits that we are enjoying right now. So we should also do some contribution so next generation can also enjoy. So that's our lessons to learn. Very well.
Yeah, wonderful lessons to learn. Thank you. Prabhu. Yeah, on that note, so we'll give it a pause today. We'll look forward to all of your association again in the next week.
All Vishnu
Very well,
Prabhupada.
thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Very well, Jai Bhagat Ki